All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, this is going to be a response to a recent upload from Aztecross where he talks about these are unfair in the thumbnail, and he says 4 exotics that need a second look. Now, I found this video really interesting. He doesn't name me in this video by any means, but as someone who constantly covers the meta and the sandbox, I was recently working on a video that was very, very similar to this one, and when I saw this pop up into my feed, I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I watched it through, and I couldn't agree more with all of the points that he makes within this video. And so I wanted to make a response video and also to, add a little more spotlight to the issue that's at hand here. So the premise that he makes with this is that these 4 exotics just sort of do unfair things. I think that weapons that really break their archetype are a bit of a pain point inside Destiny. Chaperone just has absolutely crazy range with Roadborne, and even with like aim assist, that can be even like very hard to almost miss headshots. The Lawrence Driver is absolutely nuts, even more of a plague in terms of like the peeking anything when someone has a Lawrence Driver is like a guaranteed you're going to get your head popped. And it seems like flinching people with it does absolutely nothing. The last word breaks its archetype with firing at like 225 RPM. The last word is unbelievably broken, and the DMT as well. All of these weapons seem to break their archetype, and I'm not trying to call for them to all get like harshly nerfed by any means, but I definitely think that they are quite a bit OP. And instead of just giving my opinion on it, I would like to show you a little bit of data here from Destiny Trials Report. These are the last 3 weekends of trials, the first being just last weekend, the second one 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago. We can see in the top 10 here, we have the Chaperone, the Lawrence Driver, the Last Word, and the Dead Man's Tale across the board on all 4 weeks. Now, I'm not saying that usage or popularity is a direct result of like, hey, we should nerf these things, because literally last week, Main Ingredient was the #1 most used weapon, got the most kills, and clearly that is not on the list for what we're talking about today, but maybe I'll make that for another video because it is definitely pretty nasty. So the point I'm trying to make with this, though, is that with so many people using these weapons, people are always going to be driven towards the meta. They're going to be driven towards what is most powerful. And those 4 exotics, time and time again, you just see it as you play at the higher level or as you play trials consistently. People just tend to flock to that stuff because, Lawrence Driver will just consistently get you kills. It's just so very strong. Chaperone, the same thing. Last Word, the same thing. And the Dead Man's Tale. And a lot of this issue, and this is another issue that I was very hesitant, and the reason why I didn't make this video and why I was happy to see Aztecross actually talking about this topic, is that we're starting to get into a weird territory here within the Destiny sandbox where it's almost becoming like controller players or controller usage of weapons is becoming stronger than mouse and keyboard usage. And this is a big, heavy topic, and I know the majority of people out there watching this right now are probably people that are playing Destiny 2 with a controller. Obviously, if you're on console, you're playing controller, and a lot of people, even on PC, use a controller. And I am by no means trying to roast or flame anyone for what input device you use. I think it's really cool that we all get to play together in the sandbox. But one thing I do find really interesting is that when I first started playing PC, I was playing on a controller, and I felt like I was far behind the mouse and keyboard players, and everyone was like, well, if you want to get to that next level, you need to, in PvP, you need to learn mouse and keyboard. You can move a lot faster, you can do this, you can do that. The aim assist values at the beginning of Destiny 2 when it launched on PC were significantly lower, to the point where all the PvP players at the high end and anyone that wanted to be exceptionally good at PvP when Destiny 2 launched used a mouse and keyboard. But Bungie, as with other games, they're starting to adjust these values a little bit. They're starting to say, hey, maybe we should add a little more aim assist to this gun, maybe a little more aim assist to that gun. Maybe get the usage rates balanced out between mouse and keyboard and controller, or maybe get the kill death ratio average of a mouse and keyboard player to the same average as a controller player, things like that. And so we're starting to see these values adjusted a lot. And boy, would I hate to be a Bungie dev that needs to decide these values, because if you weight it too much in one direction, you're going to get a ton of hate, and weight it too much in another direction, you're going to get a ton of hate. And so these are tough decisions to make, for sure. These are very tough decisions. But we're starting to see the controller usage. It's almost like the exact opposite effect from when I first started to play Destiny 2 with mouse and keyboard. It's like the opposite effect in that it's starting to feel like if you want to be really good and really consistent, especially with like, using Lawrence Driver, where he almost feels like he can't miss in a lot of times, you got to plug in the sticks is what it's starting to feel like. And it's pretty crazy to think about. A recent tournament happened, and this is not, to shine over everything of controller players, but a recent tournament happened where we had like Panda's team versus like an Xbox team, and I thought this was a really interesting like microcosm for what's happening, where a team of controller players, like I think on all of them on Xbox or most of them on Xbox, literally beat the Pandas team, who's like one of the better, most known tournament players and stuff like that. So that was pretty crazy to see, the sort of the shifting of the tides where like the controller players are on top now. And I have friends that play controller and they are absolutely nuts. I mean, they're so consistent with their snipes. You know, when you have aim assist, you tend to be a little more consistent and things can be, you know, if you're laning certain areas, people slide through that. It tends to drag onto their head a little bit longer and makes a lot of those shots. And on just playing Destiny 2 PvP in general, a little more insane and a little bit better, a little more to your advantage now. Again, this is a very sticky topic to talk about because I know a lot of people are going to give me flack about this, and I'm not calling for aim assist to be nerfed by any means. I'm just sort of noticing the trend and sort of realizing what's going on. Controller teams winning tournaments on the PvP sweaty side, weapons that tend to favor aim assist a little bit more, hitting the top 10 on the meta side. I just find it all really interesting. And who knows, maybe in due time, maybe I'll go back from being a controller player to being a mouse and keyboard player to going back to playing controller in the long run. Who knows? Maybe that's what the end result of all of this is. And if that is the end result, I'm happy with that. I have no qualms with playing on controller. I just find it interesting to see these worlds trying to be balanced and noticing that weapons that tend to favor aim assist sort of rising up to the top a little bit more than before. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. But that's all I have to say on that topic. I do agree with Aztecross's opinion of these 4 exotics. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below and make sure to subscribe with notifications on. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.